to the Fast Mode. I'm Tara Neil, and with me I have Brian from ANAM. Brian's going to talk to us about the A2P messaging market. So, welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Okay, so one of the first things that we would like to know is the growth in the A2P market. So we see a lot of growth in this segment, and could you please explain to us what's contributing to this growth that we are seeing in the recent years?
Yeah, so I mean, the great thing is that the A2P market is a very healthy market. I think there's a couple of fundamentals that promote that. One is the fact that A2P messaging, SMS, it's ubiquitous. It works on all devices. Whether you're young or old, you know how to operate it. The messages get delivered, they're read. So for enterprise sending a communication to a customer, it's a very, very solid, authentic way to do that. Works every time. So what you have is you've got fundamentally a good product. Then on top of that, you have a lot of growth in smartphones. So there was a view a couple of years ago that as OTT players became more active and as people got smartphones, that things would move into applications and away from SMS. But actually, the reverse is true. So as people become digitally active, as they get smartphones, and they open Facebook accounts and they bank online, and they order taxis through applications, the SMS has become a backbone communication. So as digital activity grows, HP SMS is growing. So, we're seeing some fantastic numbers, growth across the board. Some of our customers are growing 25% year on year. More of a kind of an industry figure might be 17% growth year on year. So, they're pretty strong numbers in mobile telecoms. When many products are declining, HP is absolutely growing.
Wow. Okay, because there's a lot of challenges that's being talked about in the messaging market, especially with the rise of OTT and then things like WhatsApp, and we have a lot of people saying that once you're on data, it becomes very convenient to just go on your IP messaging. Okay, so these are some of the challenges, and then we have on the other side rich communication services coming up too. So how's the traditional messaging taking on these challenges? You have addressed a little, but maybe a bit more.
Yeah. So it's a good question, because what you have on the OTT side is, you mentioned WhatsApp. So WhatsApp have brought out some enterprise level solutions, but what we're seeing is the take up on that is quite small, because not every consumer has a WhatsApp application on their device. Now, in some countries it's very popular, in other countries it's still growing. So if you're an enterprise looking to communicate with a customer, do you really have time to figure out, well, that customer is using WhatsApp and that customer is on SMS and all the different ways to get your message through? When sometimes really all you want to do is just get that message through. So we are seeing OTT players come up with some options on enterprise messaging or A2P messaging, but we don't see any of them going mainstream yet. Now, I have my doubts, and it's going back to what I said earlier. SMS, it's the simplicity that has basically ensured its success. I mean, it's a 20-year-old technology, and it's still growing, and it is that simplicity. So we haven't seen anything from the OTTs yet that is having any kind of an impact on A2P. In terms of RCS, so RCS is very interesting. A rich communications. It brings quite a good service to the consumer, and it's growing. But it's still in that growth phase. Mobile operators need to roll out the platforms, need to roll out the solutions, need to get behind it. There are some questions to be answered around maybe the commercial model in RCS. So as a product, it's very good, but it's basically got to become mainstream, and we are seeing things happen there, and we're seeing more activity. But it has to become mainstream to compete against A2P. So A2P is still, I suppose, the principal messaging communication platform too. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have the massive growth in the A2P market. Okay, but any growth, as we see, as we know it, there'll be challenges, and the operators will be facing the challenges of managing this amount of traffic on their messaging networks. So what are some of the challenges that operators are facing in that aspect?
So, it's kind of, some people look at it as a challenge. I kind of look at it as an opportunity. So, the great thing is that every mobile operator today carries A2P messages. The opportunity is, are they all billing for it or not? Right? So the message is being carried. In some cases, networks aren't protected. So therefore, the A2P is going over what we call grey routes or unbilled routes. So when you have a product that exists and is used and is enjoying very good growth, it's an opportunity for an operator. So what operators need to do is sometimes they engage with a firewall and they put in technology to protect the network. But the technology is a small part of the overall solution that they need. So if you think of A2P, it is a product with a recurring revenue stream. And as I say, a recurring revenue stream requires continuous effort, right? Just like any business. So it's a combination of technology, managed services, revenue focus, continual product development, watching out for developments within fraud and within bypass. So, what's happening globally in the market. And to absolutely maximize, for an operator to maximize their revenue opportunity, they do need to put in a recurring effort and focus to make sure that's done. And that is something, that's what we do. I mean, ANAM as a company has a lot of very mature technology, but we've also developed our methodology and our processes to make sure that the A2P opportunity for operators is absolutely maximized. And that's the key.
So back to the A2P messaging. If you see, enterprises are relying more and more on A2P messaging to connect to their customers, even for the smallest thing, just notifying them that a particular transaction has been done, notifying them to validate a certain change and stuff like that, verification and stuff like that. So of course, they would count the operators in as part of the process of helping them to do all this validation and all that. And then from the user's point of view, they see that the operator, in collaboration with the merchant or the enterprise that they are working with, are giving them this service. So obviously there's a huge demand for a very reliable, trustworthy kind of channel, coming through, notifying that, like say maybe $2,000 has been transferred from your account, and you expect that to be accurate, and that you expect that for any transaction in the future that you will be receiving such notifications in real time. So how can operators assure that they can keep up with this level of trust that they right now garner from their users?
So the big way they do it, or maybe the easiest thing they can do, is ensure that there is no HPSMS bypass, or that traffic isn't originated through spurious routes. That everything comes through approved aggregators under contract. It comes down the correct pipe under commercial agreement, and then it's delivered to the customer. The challenge is that if a network isn't protected, then you have companies sending messages, and some of them are fraudulent messages. So, some of them will basically say, it's a message from a bank to call this number to maybe win a car, and all of a sudden it ends up taking all their credit on a prepaid phone. So, by removing all of the grey route traffic, a mobile operator protects itself against that spurious, fraudulent traffic, and therefore, if they remove all the fraudulent traffic, there's more trust in the messages that you do get. It becomes a much cleaner channel. So, and it's less noise, less spam, and much more trustworthy. So, it's a very important point that for operators to ensure the longevity of HPSMS, it does need to be trusted, and therefore you need to remove any element of spam or fraud, and that's done by eliminating grey routes, putting in a good firewall, and providing a continuous managed services to make sure that the network's kept clean. And that's good for the operator, it's good for the enterprise, and it's good for the consumer. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the essential questions that we wanted to ask. But more on just to elaborate on this, do you see any sort of different patterns between regions when we are talking about the kind of challenges on these kind of fraudulent activities and security issues on the network? Do you see that there's some difference between the what operators are facing in one region compared to the other?
So it's kind of interesting because, as a global company, we provide services to operators all over the world, on all the different continents. And, there are maybe unique differences slightly, but on the whole, what we see is trends. So one of the big trends at the moment is SIM-box activity. So what's happening is people are buying SIM boxes, loading them up with SIM cards, and then sending messages. So traditionally, A2P bypass would have been done over international routes, but now they're actually done as part of the mobile originating, or they look like P2P traffic in the network. So that's one of the trends that's emerging. Now, in some countries, it's very aggressive. In other countries,
and in these countries, do you have some of the countries where this is becoming a major challenge?
So one of the countries we recently worked on was Vietnam, where there was a major issue with SIM boxes. So we went in and we basically eliminated that traffic. So because there was so much SIM box activity that it became a consumer issue. Consumers were being hammered with messages day and night. So to stop all of that traffic and obviously remove it from the fraud element was good, but also from a consumer perspective, it was good. So SIM boxes has got big. And what we're seeing is as networks are starting to become more secure, the tools used to try and bypass are becoming more and more advanced. And that's why I suppose originally I was talking about it does need recurring effort. Because, when you have fraud and when you have the potential to make a lot of money, people will do everything they can to not pay for that service. And that means not paying the mobile operator to terminate that message. So the stakes are high. The rewards are great. So therefore the effort from these guys is immense. And I suppose that's ultimately what ANAM does. We ensure that we continually, through analytics and through a revenue focus, we monitor the networks continually and make sure that they're kept clean.
I see. Oh, interesting. So, when you identify these trends, okay, say in one region, and then you start building those kind of the signaling into the flagging, for example, into your solutions, so that when it starts emerging in other regions, you can actually catch it there as it happens.
So it's global learning. So what we do, we've got different teams. So we're here now in Malaysia. We've got a team here. We've obviously got a team in our headquarters in Dublin. But we're always learning off each other. So we have continual meetings. We're always kind of having face to face, where we share trends that are emerging, and therefore all our customers benefit as we develop our methodology, our process, our technology, our capability. So everybody benefits. So you get a best in class.
Excellent, great. That's very interesting, and I didn't expect that. What we have mentioned, the SIM box. Yeah. The SIM box is a kind of a new phenomena that we are hearing, and I guess you would only appreciate it if you get hammered with that kind of messages.
Yeah, no, and it's becoming a big issue, but we have tools to address that. So it is absolutely it's become a big issue, but we are able to look after that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. Thanks a lot for all the insights. It's lovely speaking to you. Okay, all right.